is Ford Model AQ&A.
Today's question comes from Austin.
Hi, Austin.
He recently rebuilt his steering box about a little over a year ago, he says, on his 29 Roadster Maisie.
Hi, Maisie.
It has leaked ever since, unfortunately.
Darn.
Yeah. It appears to be leaking from the sector thrust screw and maybe a little from the end plate. He says, I have not found any info on the sealing the sector thrust screw or if that's even a thing. I think it's a thing, right?
Well, kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
So let's talk about the end cap first, because there's a couple of products you can get to keep the oil from leaking out the bottom. But the problem is, right at the bottom of the steering box, that's where the light switch is.
Oh.
You don't want oil in there.
No.
They make a product that is it's one of the shims or whatever that goes in the end plate. It kind of sandwiches in the end cap to the steering box, and it has a tube, which I will show you a picture of right here.
Yeah?
Yeah. So you buy that product, you put it on the end, and you seal that with a little bit of RTV or whatever goop, put that on, boom, the bottom never leaks. Now the problem is the sector thrust screw. So on a 7-tooth box, which he could have a 7 or a 2-tooth on a 29 Roadster, we don't know for sure.
You didn't put which one it was?
Yeah, so on a 7-tooth box, there's actually like a piece that bolts on to the side of the steering box. There's a gasket, that piece bolts on, the screw goes in with a nut, all that. Okay, that can be sealed with RTV, no problem. On a 2-tooth box, it's part of the housing. So usually those threads are pretty tight. If those threads aren't tight, they're loose, they'll weep. So unfortunately, you have to take the whole box apart to do this, but you can take that off, clean it all out real good, RTV that, but you have to put the box together and adjust it like right on the spot before the RTV dries.
Oh, wow.
Because once the RTV dries, you can't move it. If you do, it's going to start leaking again.
Oh, gosh.
So the way I do it, though, is I just put some goop in the threads and just let the goop dry in the threads first. Then I thread that on, because how often are you going to adjust the 2-tooth box? You're probably going to adjust it maybe a couple of times over its life. By then, it's going to be time for a rebuild anyway. So that buys me just enough time without leaking on that sector adjustment screw.
That you can enjoy it for a while.
Yeah, so if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Keep those Model A's driving for generations to come.